Welcome to the A to Z of licensed games, a series of vids about games that take something from something else. This list is looking pretty plain so far, so I guess it's time to throw some D's on it. Who doesn't love out-of-date cultural references? I suppose I'm in a pretty jovial mood. Perhaps because Die Hard always puts me in the mood for Christmas, and Die Hard for the NES is our featured title. Die Hard has something of a mixed reputation. It has some fairly odd mechanics for a NES title, and it's hard as hell to boot. This game can kill you in seconds. It also got reviewed by The Nerd, which didn't do its reputation any favours at all, but it's always been welcome here. Again, Die Hard is another name that's been treated to multiple good games in the past. Something about it just happens to work, most of the time anyway. And yet I picked this one, perhaps to redress the balance a little, and also because I always enjoyed it. The first time I played it, it just grabbed me. Mind you, I hadn't actually played it for years, and always intended for it to be my featured entry here, so I was hoping to God it still held up. And thankfully, it does. As I alluded to, it's kind of an odd little game, very linear, even for a NES title. For a start, you know exactly how many enemies you're facing. 40, including the main boss, and you know exactly how long the game's going to last. So long as you get the detonators, which you will as you play. When that 6th block goes down, the 30th floor unlocks, Carl battles you on whatever floor you're on, you go to the 30th floor, kill all the remaining crooks, and finally face off with Huns. Before all that though, you simply have to survive, and that ain't easy. You gotta be intelligent in this game, ducking in and out of cover as much as you possibly can. The machine gun helps, but sometimes the screen will simply fill with bullets. You need patience and instinct to find the proper opening. When you start playing the shootouts properly, they become tense, nail-biting affairs. This definitely isn't your average run and gunner. As you can see, the game's very faithful to the movie, even in its mechanics. Glass breaks if fired at, and if John walks over it, his feet get cut to ribbons and you slow down. Just like the movie. You can climb into vents as well, there's flashbangs, a lot of radio chatter, basically everything's here. One thing that people do complain about in this game is the obscured vision you get when you're walking around corridors and such, but I don't really see the problem. This is clearly trying to be a realistic-ish shooter, as close as you can get on the NES, and frankly Pack-In Video did a bloody good job of it. And these were the same guys who made the likes of Rambo, Predator and Friday the 13th. This, however, is an absolute hidden gem. Get yourself in the rhythm of the game, embrace its gun battles, its tight control, get your survival instincts going, and you may well enjoy it as much as I do. Once again, there are a healthy amount of honourable mentions, and a couple of Die Hard games are amongst them. Sega's Die Hard Arcade is an odd one. In actuality, it's the thoroughly unlicensed Dynamite Deca, a 3D beat-em-up. However, the similarities between this game and Die Hard's original plot, plus no doubt the thought of making a bit more bank, persuaded Sega to slap a Die Hard license on the game in the West. Frankly, the only major similarity between this and Die Hard is the big skyscraper and the name. Frankly, it shouldn't count. However, I'm throwing it in simply because it's a bloody good game, one of the better 3D beat-em-ups I've played. Oddly, I think it was the first time I ever encountered a full-on QuickTime event. Anyway, here's something more obvious. Diehard Trilogy for the PS1. This is actually 3 games, based on, as you'd expect, the 3 movies, as it was then. You get a third-person shooter for the first movie, a whale shooter for the second, and a driving game for the third. None of them are that bad at all, actually, although the taxicab game was always my favourite. Shame it didn't feature any proper Samuel samples. And yippee-ki-yay, that's Die Hard. But we're not anywhere near finished. Now some of you surely thought that another NES game entirely would have been the featured title, right? DuckTales, in most people's eyes, has a fair shout of being the greatest licensed game ever made. And I'm not going to deny its greatness. Yes, the platforming's brilliant, the challenge is just right, there's tons of secrets, levels you can explore for ages, the music's wonderful, the moon is probably one of my favourite game tracks, and I can't wait for that upcoming remake because it's going to be an absolute belter. So why is this legendary, near-perfect game not the featured title? Well, because it is so revered, it's like the Led Zeppelin of licensed games or whatever. DuckTales doesn't need me to tell you how good it is. Here we speak for the underdog, and Die Hard frankly needed the props more. Moving on, here's a game that punches well above its weight. Def Jam, Fight for New York. A beat 'em up with a bunch of rappers and whatnot? How good could it be, eh? And then you see that it's made by the same folks who did WWF No Mercy. It's more than good. It's a corker. One of the best fighting games for the PS2. Lots of moves, great stages you can actually use, smooth controls, very solid. Oh look, you know why this game is so great? You get to play as Henry frickin' Rollins, or Method Man, or Redman, or Buster Goddamn Rhymes. Yeah, you know, that feels pretty good, bruh. But we're still not done. I haven't even mentioned Deere Pilot of the Future yet. It's one of my favourite games on the Spectrum, a shooter where you're running against the clock, you work your way through mazes, set up bombs and kill loads of trees. This game's the bomb diggity, and I've loved it ever since I was a kid. And whew, that's the honourable mentions. And yeah, there's a lot of really strong games I could have chosen. You should absolutely play all of these if you haven't already. But now, well, I can't even make a decent segue into the shit room. This game is just too horrible. Dick Tracy on the Amiga is far beyond any shit room title we've seen so far. It's possibly the single worst licensed game ever made. The music, oh my god the music, the juddery action, broken controls, hell, broken everything, it's an absolute disaster. And it's also a game I've covered before. I went full on into it when I did my video on Titus Software. So how can I go into it again without repeating myself? Well, it's actually not just an Amiga title, it's multi-platform. The game also came out for the Commodore 64, the Amstrad CPC, and the ZX Spectrum. So, let's have a look at them. Screw it, they might be better, they might even be good. Or I'm about to unlock Room 101 and find the worst thing in the world. Let's find out. C64 first. Well, it runs smoother, and that's about all the good I can say. The hit detection is completely broken. Some goons disappear when I hit them, others just pass right through me and do tons of damage. It's quite horrible. Frankly, I expected no less. The Amstrad CPC version? Well, it has people shooting at me from the windows. I don't think that was even in the Amiga version. I mean, that's pretty special, isn't it? Isn't it? Ugh, God. Here's something awful. Enemies appear with me whenever I get on a new screen, and they beat the living shit out of me. Surprisingly though, this is better than the C64 version. It might even be the best version of the game. Which is like saying that I'd rather fuck David Icke as opposed to Alex Jones. And lastly, the Spectrum version. Now here I discovered something amusing. On this one, I don't get hurt for touching enemies. Therefore, I can simply walk through the enemies and not bother with them at all. On the later levels, I get guns. Now this next bit is in fast forward, because I think there's about 10 screens that all consist of a single enemy that I shoot the second I get on the screen. Variation was obviously a very dirty word in Titus's officers. All the versions have something that boggles the mind. They are all unspeakably abominable. They should have been exposed at birth. That NES game? Yeah, it's nothing compared. This Dick Tracy is possibly the worst licensed game ever made. In fact, no, it's definitely the worst licensed game ever made. In closing, well, spare a thought for the Mega Drive game. The honourable mentions were way too packed for me to include it there, but at least it's a decent side-scroller, with controls that work, music that doesn't make your ears bleed, and neat touches like machine gun in the background. Compared to these games, it's Super Metroid. So, you know, it's not all bad, Dick. It's not all bad. But just go to sleep now, Dick. Go to sleep. Forever. And with that, D's all wrapped up and in the books. We've had a fairly swell time so far, but next up is the letter E, where things get, well, a little sparse. A famine is approaching. I look at the games I have for the next letter and I have no idea which one I'm going to feature. But damn it, I'll find something. Until then, thanks for watching, and wherever you are, whoever you be, have a good one, take care, and I'll see you next time.